The distress beacon pulsed weakly through the void of space, a dying whisper in the cosmic dark. Elsa watched the holographic display with growing frustration as yet another Galactic Council vessel passed within range of the stranded colony ship, only to accelerate away without acknowledgement. "Third ship this cycle," she muttered, her fingers dancing across the communication console. "They're not even pretending to consider it anymore." Ferk stood behind her, arms crossed, his jaw set in that familiar expression of controlled anger. The salvage freighter they'd commandeered, barely qualified as spaceworthy, but it was all that remained after the pirates had torn through the human settlement on Kepler 442b. 200 souls crammed into a ship designed for 40, life support failing, and the so-called civilized galaxy turning a blind eye. "Send it again," Verk said quietly. "Standard galactic distress protocols. By their own laws, they have to respond." Elsa's laugh was bitter. "Their laws don't apply to Deathworlders, remember? We're the monsters from the Rim, the barbarians who crawled out of a planet that actively tries to kill its inhabitants." She wasn't wrong. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Council 15 years ago, and the discovery that humans hailed from a Class 12 death world had sent shockwaves through the peaceful species of the core systems. A world with carnivorous megafauna, lethal microorganisms, extreme weather patterns, and gravity that would crush a Zenthari diplomat flat. The fact that humans had not only survived but thrived made them terrifying to species who had evolved on gentle garden worlds. Ferk moved to the tactical display, his engineer's mind already calculating vectors and fuel consumption. "How long until life support completely fails?" 18 hours. Maybe 20 if we cut power to everything non-essential. Elsa's voice cracked slightly. "There are 43 children on this ship, Verk." He placed a hand on her shoulder and she could feel the tremor of suppressed rage in his grip. Verk had lost his own sister to the Galactic Council's indifference years ago, when her mining outpost sent distress calls that were systematically ignored. The rescue ships arrived 3 days after everyone had asphyxiated. "Then we make them listen," he said. Before Elsa could ask what he meant, Verk was already at the navigation console, fingers flying across holographic keys. "There's an old human ship designation in the registry. The UHN's Indomitable. It was supposed to be decommissioned, scrapped for parts after the Battle of Proxima." "Supposed to be?" A wolfish grin spread across Verk's face. "Commander Sarah Chen doesn't believe in following orders she doesn't agree with. And she really doesn't like bullies." Elsa's eyes widened. "You can't be serious. That ship is a relic, a warship from before first contact." "Exactly." Verk initiated the encoded transmission burst, using old military frequencies that the Galactic Council had banned, built for Deathworlders by Deathworlders. No safety limiters, no AI restrictions, just raw human engineering and spite. The message was simple. Colony ship SS Horizon. 200 souls. Children dying. Council ignoring protocols. "Kepler sector, please," they waited. Minutes crawled by like hours. Elsa returned to monitoring life support, rationing power, making impossible decisions about which systems could be sacrificed. Behind them, in the cargo hold converted to emergency quarters, families huddled together trusting that someone would save them. Verk never left the scanner display. 22 minutes later, the sensors screamed. "Impossible," Elsa breathed, staring at the readings. Nothing moves that fast, but something did. The fabric of space tore open as 17 human warships dropped out of FTL directly into orbit around their position. Not the sleek, elegant vessels of the Galactic Council with their curved lines and energy-efficient designs. These were angular, brutal things, covered in armor plating and weapon ports built to take punishment and deliver devastation. The lead ship dwarfed their freighter. The UHNS Indomitable was a fortress given purpose, bristling with railguns, missile batteries, and energy weapons that violated at least 40 Council treaties. The communication channel crackled to life. "SS Horizon, this is Commander Sarah Chen of the United Human Naval Ship Indomitable. We received your distress call." Her voice carried the weight of barely contained fury. "We're deploying medical teams and transport shuttles. You're getting everyone off that ship in the next 2 hours." "Commander." Elsa's voice shook with relief and disbelief. "How did you arrive so quickly?" "We only sent the message. We've been tracking you since the Zenthari cruiser ignored your SOS 6 hours ago," Chen interrupted. Turns out the Council's encrypted channels aren't as secure as they think. We've been listening to them dismiss 23 human distress calls in the past month. A pause, heavy with implication. We decided that ends today. On the tactical display, Elsa watched as 3 Council patrol ships approached, probably to investigate the unauthorized human presence. They slowed when their sensors registered the human fleet's weapons hot and tracking. The Zenthari cruiser that had ignored them earlier was suddenly transmitting urgent diplomatic messages. Verk's grin was savage. Too late for diplomacy now. Commander Chen's voice came through again, this time on an open channel that every ship in the sector could hear. Attention all Galactic Council vessels. Humanity formally invokes Article 7 of the Sapient Protection Accords. Any species that willfully ignores distress calls from human civilians will be considered hostile. Your laws apply to us, ours apply to you, and unlike you, we actually enforce them. Elsa watched as shuttle after shuttle launched from the human fleet, medical teams already preparing for the worst. The children would live. They all would. She looked at Verk, who was wiping moisture from his eyes. We're the barbarians from a death world, she said softly. Yes, he replied, watching the rescue operation unfold. And that means we don't leave our people behind. Ever. Outside, the human fleet held position, a steel wall between the vulnerable and those who would let them die. The Deathworlders had arrived, and the galaxy would have to adjust its definitions of civilization accordingly. Because on Earth, in the cradle of humanity's violent evolution, they had learned one fundamental truth. The strong protect the weak. It was the most civilized thing of all.